Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I'm Vincent Gire, CEO and co-founder of Calldesk, a FLITC company. We specialize in customer service, so I will be talking a little bit about that. But I will be mostly talking about ChatGPT and the revolution that is coming along. Not just a leap, but a true revolution, like the Industrial Revolution that created a new era. So let me start with a question. How many of you have tried ChatGPT? Okay, great. So here, if I have just one goal today, it is to make you realize that this is a big revolution. The sooner you realize it, the faster you will start thinking about it and start thinking about how to adapt. Okay, so to do that, we'll follow a classic agenda with a quick introduction to ChatGPT, a few examples, and an explanation of how it works. Then we'll speak a little bit about the general impact of AI on customer service, the last advancement in AI technology, and finally, what can be the future of AI in customer service and what is our vision for that. So let's start with ChatGPT and what is it? ChatGPT is basically a super smart chatbot that you can ask anything. You can ask it a recipe, you can ask it an advice on a financial strategy, you can ask it to create some marketing content. It is not a rule-based chatbot, which answers have been generated by humans. It's a language model that has been trained on a huge data set. And you can ask it almost anything. So for example, you can ask it how it works. Let's try that. So here on top, you can see the text prompt. How does ChatGPT work? And you can see the answer generated by ChatGPT. Okay, so I will read it with you. ChatGPT is a type of language model that uses deep learning to generate human-like text. It is trained on a large data set of written text, such as books, articles, and websites. The model learns to predict the next word in a sentence, given the context of the previous word. This is very important. This is the definition of a language model. A language model will read some words, and then it will predict the next most probable word. So in our case, it will read, how does ChatGPT work? And it will predict ChatGPT. Then it will predict the next word, is, then a, then type, etc., etc. So it does not really understand the question, but by generating the next word in the sequence, it will generate something that looks like a very good answer for this question. So let's continue. Once trained, the model can generate new text by sampling from the probability distribution of the next word based on the context of the input. So this is a bit more complex, but what it says is that it will not only generate the next word, it will generate the probability for every possible word. And what it means is that for one text prompt, it can generate several different answers. That's what will give it more human-like style. It can be great for some application, but it can be a problem also if you want to precisely control its output. The generated text can be used in various applications such as chatbot, language translation, and text summarization, and much more, and we will see that. So how does it work exactly? At the core of ChatGPT, there is its brain. So it's a transformer architecture. A transformer architecture is a deep neural network architecture with several layers and 175 billion parameters. So it's more than neurons in the human brains. Even if we cannot really compare the two of them, it gives you a sense of scale of the number of parameters. So this architecture, the transformer architecture, was first introduced in 2017 in a paper called Attention is All You Need. And it was a breakthrough in natural language understanding because it gave the model the ability to focus on some specific words in a sentence and not just use the same weight for every word. So this model is trained on a massive data set of 0.5 terabytes of data that was mostly taken from the web, and trained during months on thousands of GPUs. It then learns patterns and relationships between words and sentences, and finally, it generates human-like responses that it's almost impossible to distinguish from human responses. So before I go to the next section, let me pause for a second and ask you some feedback. What do you think of this presentation so far? And I think this will get interesting. So you will not tell me, but I would guess that you think it's good enough. Okay? So I have to admit something. I didn't write this presentation. ChatGPT did. So for the ones who don't believe me, here is the prompt I've used. Can you write me the detailed slides of a speech, ChatGPT and beyond, how AI technology is changing the way we contact customers? And this is the outline of my presentation. And for the slide on the technology that explains how it works, I just asked him as well. So can you expand the slide explanation of how it uses machine learning to generate human-like text? And you can see all the bullet points that I've shown you. I just copied these bullet points and passed them in this template. No magic here. So some of you will think, the most optimistic of you can think that I've been augmented by AI. And the most pessimistic can think that I've been already replaced, that I'm useless. I will let you be the judge of that, okay? So what else can ChatGPT do for us? It is a great accountant. It passed one difficult exam in the US for accounting. It is also a good lawyer because it passed the bar in the US, which is a very difficult exam for lawyers. In fact, my lawyer, who is also a teacher in a law school, is struggling with ChatGPT because her students are now using ChatGPT for their homework. But really recently she told me, you know, I know when they use ChatGPT. I say, yeah, how do you know? Well, the copies they've given me are much better than before, and I know exactly which one are written by ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be also a doctor. And finally, it has more IQ than the average college student. And I think this is maybe the biggest concern as of today, at least for me. I am a father of 3 kids, and I'm really already wondering who will accept my kids for an internship or for a first job if already a chatbot is doing better. So this is something they will have to adapt to. So ChatGPT is not perfect, of course, and has several limitations. Let's look at them. So this is ChatGPT homepage, and you can see the limitations. So it may occasionally generate incorrect information, and the problem with that is that it will state this information with a lot of confidence. So if you trust it, you will think that's the truth. The problem as well is that it doesn't give you the sources, so you cannot check this information. The second limitation is that it can produce harmful instructions or biased content. This is because it was trained mostly on the internet, which is very biased content with racial or gender biases. There is another research area for generation. So it's image generation where scientists are building similar models to generate images. You've seen DALL-E as well from OpenAI. They're training these models on images from the web. And because I think about 30% of these images are either violent or porn images, they get very strange generation, to say the least. So this is a problem. How do we make sure that generated content is not biased? And finally, because it costs so much and it takes so much time to train, it will never be up to date. So today, its knowledge ends at the end of 2021. It doesn't even know that Saudi Arabia beat Argentina for the World Cup. So it's a problem. And it cannot be connected to external systems such as an API or CRM. So it limits its application for businesses. Customer service is a very good application space for AI, because today we are all expecting better customer experiences, and companies, they all want to better serve their customer at scale. And so AI and automation is a really good candidate for this problem. In the near future, about 85% of all interactions will be automated. Next year, there will be already 8 billion that will be saved through automation in customer service. And in our projects, we see, as of today, up to 65% cost reduction in customer service. So over the last 7 years, I co-founded 7 years ago, I co-founded Calldesk, a company specialized in AI for customer service. Our vision is to build an AI-first contact center. To do that, we have built the best AI-powered voice agent on the market, and we have deployed this voice agent for big enterprise customers. Since then, we automate for them millions of calls on a yearly basis. This is very easy to deploy because we have a no-code interface that gives the ability to anyone to build these voice agents. So this technology already exists and is already useful as of today for customer service. But what will be the future of that? That's what I want to share with you today. So can ChatGPT-like technology help us in making better systems like this? Our vision is that today we still need to configure this system on a per use case basis. But we believe that with this kind of technology, we can progressively build agents that are generic and can handle any use cases for businesses. But before I show you that, just let's come back a little bit on ChatGPT and discuss one big advance that has happened last year as well. So the problem of ChatGPT is the cost of the model. It costs $500 million per year for OpenAI to develop this technology and to run it. So it's only accessible to a few companies. Let's look at ChatGPT with another perspective, the same perspective you would look at a human brain. You know, when you do a brain scanner, you can see the different regions that will light up depending on the functionalities. Well, if someone interacts with ChatGPT, the model, there is a region in the model that is responsible to understand text. Okay, that's a small region. But then the model needs to access some kind of information. And so the information is memorized in the neural network. And this memory takes 25 times more parameters than all the other regions of the model. That makes sense because it needs to store everything that is learning. And then the model will generate the text for the answer. What if, so it seems very inefficient because we're using billions of neurons just to store information. So what if we could, instead of storing the information in the neural networks, store it outside in something that exists, that has been existing for years, like a simple database? So let me introduce you to retrieval augmented generation. So in these models, they understand text, they generate text, but instead of storing the information, they access external sources of information. They can connect to an API, they can connect to a database, and this way they are much simpler. In fact, last year, Google released a model called Retro, which achieved better performance than ChatGPT with 25 less parameters than GPT-3. So this opens up this technology for companies like us. And we have been working since then on a version of ChatGPT that would be specialized in the future for customer service to fulfill our vision of AI for customer service. So let me introduce you to the universal Arabic chatbot. It's a GPT-like technology, so it's a retrieval augmented generation with retrieval augmented generation. It can be connected to any APIs, and today, as of today, it's connected to the internet. So because it's connected to the internet, it can answer about any questions. So today, it's still, the Arabic support is still being under review, but feel free to join the private beta to test it in English. And most importantly, feel free to join us on our booth to continue this conversation. And to conclude, I will, so I hope I made you realize that we are seeing the beginning of a huge revolution. And I will conclude by reverting back to the slide generated by ChatGPT and taking advice from ChatGPT. And simply thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.